Welcome back to Bolt Talk here on the Midlife Hour, where we're dangerously close to arguing that lightning is just a polite way of saying we're going to shock the league. I'm your host, DP Grizzly, here with my best bud, Bob Arkadian. While I here am a diehard Charger fan with electric personality, some would say, or maybe that's just the caffeine talking or the nicotine, your choice. Year 2 of the Jim Harbaugh era is upon us, and we're riding into week 1, not just with hope, but with real hardware caliber ambition. Go for the Super Bowl or die trying. 50 Cent shout out there. As Harbaugh himself put it, so buckle up, because today's menu is a full spread from the 53-man roster breakdown to our bold projection for the season, plus a midseason showdown with the Tennessee Titans that could test our mettle and our friendship. We know how this ended last year. I suspect a repeat. Let's get charged up, Bolt Gang, and get into this. Babito?
Why did you guys let go of J.K. Dobbins? That's why you guys are going to lose this season. I'll tell you that right now.
Because he's always broke. That's why. I love J.K. He did well for us. He doesn't move the needle enough to stack wins, right? His availability wasn't always there. As soon as he went out, our run game, it hurt, and it hurt enough by itself. Last year, I thought the combination of J.K. and Gus Edwards was going to be a real needle mover to push our running game into a new direction, especially after the departure of Austin Eckler. And it was fine for the first couple of weeks, but as soon as JK got a little banged up and Gus was banged up, and honestly, Gus never got the bus moving with the Chargers. Blame that on the interior offensive line? I don't know. Blame that on the run scheme? I don't know. But the run game suffered. If you think back to that playoff loss to the Texans, we couldn't run the ball and we had one receiver. That's not a good recipe for an offense, right? So offense kind of struggled last year. This year, Keenan Allen's brought back after Mike Williams was re-signed and then retired before this season.
That's a good pickup. I know you got Charger fans are happy about that.
Welcome home. Slayer. You threw me off my game there a little bit.
Well, you know, I got a question for you then, real quick. Just bear with me. Is this year the year for the Chargers? Are you guys?
No, it's not.
Okay.
It's not. Listen, we here in the Bolt Gang, we don't like to be delusional. Save that for Cowboys fans. Save that for Tennessee Titans fans, if you will, Ohio State fans, those kind of people. We like to be pretty rational around here. This is not the year that we're going to make a serious push for the Super Bowl. What I think would be a win here is if we can win a playoff game. That's the narrative. That's what the ghost that's haunting Justin Herbert's locker, right? Is that he can't win a playoff game. We've been to the playoffs twice now with Herbert at the helm. Both have been very, very disappointing losses. The one against the Jags, we don't need to say anymore, in this past season against CJ Stroud and the Houston Texans. So Herbert needs a playoff win. If Harbaugh's the coach we think he is, which I think he is, and if Herbert is a quarterback I think he is, we can win a playoff game, and that's going to be a measure for success this year. Now, I did have high hopes at the beginning of the season, especially going into camp, especially after Rishon Slater, left tackle, was re-signed for that big extension. However, Rishon Slater went down with an injury. He's out for the year. So there goes our all-star.
He's out for the year?
Left tackle. He's done. His season is over. Didn't make it to game 1. So we know that Joe Alt, rookie last year, played right tackle, sensation, big body, comes from an NFL legacy. Dad played with the Chiefs. He's now moving to left tackle, and we got some patchwork going on the offensive line. We'll see how it works. My suspicion is we will still be super soft up the middle. That interior O-line will be easy target for defenses, and we're going to have to rely on Herbert to, one, stay healthy and mobile and get the ball out quick enough to eliminate some of that pressure. Now, historically, he's been excellent at that, right? That's where he's excelled. If you look at EPA and versus rushing and all that, nerdy jazz things going on. But, Babito, I sent you my predictions for the season. So do we want to go through that now?
Yes, please do. But before we do, I raise a quick question for you. If Justin Herbert loses again in the playoffs, how much faith do you have in him moving forward?
Justin Herbert is still an elite quarterback, right? Like we know that there's issues with the Chargers roster, and maybe there's a little bit of an issue of having that killer mentality. I've yet to see that be unlocked in Herbert, right? But we've seen him slowly emerge out of his shell, both as a leader and a player. I do think it'll be a rebound year. He does have Keenan Allen and Lad McConkey as well, with a pair of wide receiver rookies who've shown some promise over Quentin Johnson. So I do think the offensive passing game will perform better. Omarion Hampton, drafted in the first round, I think he will bring a different type of run game than either Austin Eckler or J.K. Dobbins had with the Chargers. A little bit bigger, a little bit better with contact, and I have faith in him. The question is will the O-line create enough opportunity for him to truly shine? That remains to be seen.
To this point of his career, I see Tony Romo.
Are you trying to hurt me?
I'm not trying to hurt you. I'm being dead honest. At this point of his career, he's Tony Romo. Tony Romo would get you to the playoffs. You'd have a great regular season. Would he not? Would he not? And then what would happen in the playoffs?
You're trying to hurt me. Listen, I don't need your accurate facts here, okay? I've never had that realization until you just now put that into my head that could be a potential. And I reject it. I rebuke you in the name of Jesus. Get that Tony Romo talk out of here.
It doesn't happen unless he breaks his back. So you're good right now.
Well, we know that Herbert has struggled with some injuries for the past few seasons, right? So like they got to keep him clean, and that starts with the middle. So let's talk about the roster. We talked about running backs, Omarion Hampton. Everybody knows Najee Harris was signed in the offseason, had a little 4th of July fiasco and got a little injured, so he remained out during camp. He is practicing now. We'll see how he performs. You know, he was signed because of his resiliency with Pittsburgh, right? He's played all 4 seasons he's been in the NFL. He's made it through each season. So we signed him thinking, hey, we'll have a running back who will be available. And then
what you didn't know is that he was cousins with Pierre St. Paul, or whatever that dude's name was from the Giants that blew his damn hand off. Come on, man. You got to know better than that.
You can't take those risks. So like I said, those 2 rookie wide receivers, Trey Harris and Keandre Lambert-Smith, or KLS, I do think they showed some promise both in camp and in the preseason. They'll probably have more of an impact than QJ, if I'm being completely honest, just with the sure hands that they have over QJ. We know that QJ did sustain that big concussion in the preseason, kind of knocked him out of the game. So I don't even know if he's going to be back for week 1. Tight ends, we're seeing much of the same. Will Disley makes another season, another return.
Stud.
Tyler Conklin is here now. We'll see how that works out. Defense, bye-bye Bosa. Bosa now signed with the Bills in the offseason after being caught by the Chargers. I
just found this out. Hang on. This is news to me. I swear, brother's honor, I've never. What? Bosa left?
Yeah, he was cut.
Well, you know what? He should have been cut. He's always hurt.
And that's what it is, right? Bosa, beloved Charger, was never available when we needed him. Like, he'd be good for a good stretch of games, come back, get injured, come back from injury, immediately go out with injury. We saw him being gassed in the second half of games immediately. I'll be honest, like it was more of a financial burden having him on the roster than the impact that he was having on the field for the last couple seasons.
Too much money for too little play.
Too much money for too little play. Yep. So Khalil Mack is still here. Tui Pelotu. I think this is season 3 for him. They did bring back Bud Dupree. So the edge may take a step back, but the DBs are still going to be solid, even with additions of a few new players. You still got Derwin James bringing up the 3rd tier of the field at safety.
Bud Dupree's a sleeper, Grizzly. He's a sleeper.
Yeah,
people don't realize how good he really is.
He's a great rotational edge player. I think the defense will continue its dominance as last season, finishing as the NFL's #1 defense. All I ask is that the offense make a step forward, but I'm afraid that even with an improved run game and wide receiver core, the offensive line will still be such a hindrance that I think we end up just making a wild card spot and battling for our lives in the wild card round. So, week 1 versus a familiar foe in Brazil. Chargers versus Chiefs. It's going to be on Friday, September 5th at the Corinthians Arena in São Paulo. I'm sorry, I don't speak Portuguese. I'm curious as to how this location and venue will affect either team. It is week 1, so they have had more time to prepare for this. and I presume that they will travel early to adapt. Probably not much of a time zone change, but it's not the same NFL stadiums or hotels or routine that you normally would be adjusted to. So I don't know. I do think the Chargers can pull this one off. Not that preseason means much, especially when it's mostly backups playing, but the Chiefs, Rashee Rice is going to be suspended for the first 6 games. Travis Kelce just got engaged. It's my hypothesis that this will be his last season. I think the Chargers can overcome them. I hope they do. That's what I wrote down in my predictions for the season. But what do you think?
I'll tell you my hypothesis. Kelce's out of shape. He's been partying all summer with his fiance. And you know what? There's nothing wrong with that. He's more than a veteran player. There's a old-timer veteran. He's that, right?
Yeah, but at that last press conference, he mentioned that he was feeling 22.
Yeah, people lie a lot, especially like
the Swifties will catch the joke.
Swifties will catch it, but he's not feeling 20. Oh, is that her album?
It was a Taylor Swift song.
Gotta shake it off, I guess.
Got to. Go continue. Who do you think is going to win this game?
I got the Chargers week 1. With what you said, Rice is going to be out. That's their main target, I believe. Week 1, anything can happen in college or NFL. And you guys have, I don't know if he's the better coach, but I think granted, he doesn't have a Super Bowl, right? But he's just as good as coach as Andy Reid. Andy Reid had Patrick Mahomes. It's like having Michael Jordan. Are you really coaching those guys, or are they just going out there and winning?
I'm as big of a Bolts fan as they come. I bleed powder blue, but Andy Reid has earned the title of being the superior coach until proven otherwise.
I think being lucky with circumstance is one thing, though. And clearly he took over a great team, right? Like, he did. He took over arguably the best quarterback in the league. Not even arguably. He's the best quarterback in the league right now.
He was there before Pat.
That's true. My timeline's
Alex
off.
Smith. He had Alex Smith, if you recall.
But even Mahomes took over a solid team when he came in and took over the reins, right?
A playoff team.
So yeah. The Chargers, they weren't in the same position, is all I'm trying to say. They're not Tennessee, but in a lot of ways they are like Tennessee. I imagine, aren't they a small market club? They're not huge. They're not big time. There's not nationwide Charger fans everywhere like Patriots.
Well, they play in one of the
Cowboys.
largest markets in the nation, but yeah, I would agree with your assessment of them being a small market team in the nation's second largest market. But
nigga, I live in California and I rarely see Chargers jerseys.
That's because you don't go to Mexican neighborhoods.
It's true, but even then, so it'd be Raiders. To this day.
We're not going to talk about the inmates at this time, so let's move on. Week 1, I got the Chargers over the Chiefs. Week 2, I got the Chargers over the Raiders in Vegas. Week 3, I got the Bolt Gang winning at home against the Broncos. Week 4, I got the Bolt Gang winning on the road against the Giants. That's opening the season 4-0. That's what I got. And then I got them taking an L hosting the Washington Commanders. I think Jaden Daniels and crew, especially with Scary Terry being re-signed and happy with his new contract, I just think that they're not going to be ready for that pace.
See, I'm going to switch one. I think Denver might get you guys because, I mean,
Denver's not going to get us at home. We split at worst. We split with
Denver.
You
guys are at home.
Yes, correct.
Okay. In Denver, though, I think they would have got you guys.
Just to remind you, we swept them last year. Okay. We split with the Broncos. When we do lose, we split. All right. Week 6, I got us taking a win over the Dolphins. Week 7, win over the Colts. Week 8, Thursday Night Football. I got that as a loss to the Vikings at home on Thursday Night Football.
To J.J. McCarthy?
I don't know what it is about the bright lights at nighttime. Maybe it's too scary for these, pastel colors. But I think the Vikings we don't know that JJ will be the quarterback. It might be Carson Wentz at that point.
Even
week
better
9
for you guys.
Week 9, big matchup. Chargers at Titans in Nashville. I got that as a dub on my book.
I don't got that as a dub. At that point, Cam Ward's going to be taken off into the fucking stratosphere. He's going to be
You got something right.
Loose.
He'll be taken off the starting lineup.
They ain't taking him off. That's Steve McNair 2.0. Sorry, he is.
It's going to end the same way too.
Oh, come on. Too soon. Too soon. Too soon. Grizzly, come on.
I just meant it was going to end with the Netflix documentary. That's all I meant.
That's not what you meant. Get out of here.
All right,
go ahead.
Week 10, I got us losing to the Steelers. You know, the Steelers, even though they might have quarterback issues, even though they don't have any big names on the offensive side of the ball, they always do just enough to drag out a win, and that's going to be Sunday Night Football at home. I got us as a loss to the Steelers. Week 11, at Jacksonville, I got that as a dub. Week 12, bye. Finally, we get a season where we have a late season bye. That will help us out, resting up, because this second half of the season is going to be a slaughter. Coming out of the bye, we got the Raiders at home. I count that as a win for us. Week 14, home against the Eagles, Monday Night Football. That's a loss. Week 15, in Kansas City at the Chiefs. I got that as a loss. Week 16 at Cowboys. This is where I have to make one adjustment to my predictions. See, I made these predictions before the big Micah Parsons trade, and I had this down as a loss in Week 18 against the Cowboys. I will now say this is a win in Week 18 against the Cowboys. Week 17, revenge game against the Texans. We have it at home. I have that as a dub. They will not stop us this time. Week 18, as we have done traditionally, we're closing out the season in Denver against the Broncos. That's where I have us marked as a loss. We split the season against the Broncos, we sweep the Raiders, and we split against the Chiefs.
Fair enough.
And that leaves us at an 11-6 record for the season, and that's my prediction for the 2025 Bolts. Babito.
I think you guys will get the Eagles this year. I really think Philadelphia is going to fall off. I don't see them. Maybe 10 games. 10 games they'll win this year, but one of those 10 ain't going to be against the Chargers. Mind you guys, I'm not a Chargers fan.
Listen, I just try to be as realistic as I can. That way I don't have too much disappointment towards the end of the season. So we're reaching that 20-minute mark. So let's run down with some closing thoughts. Strengths on the team this year. High octane offense with the return of Keenan Allen. I think the addition of the younger receivers, along with his veteran leadership, will drastically improve this wide receiver core and passing game over the 2024 version of Harbaugh's team.
But who's going to be your number one receiver? I got a feeling it's going to be. I was going to say the same thing. It's going to be McConkey. With Allen there, McConkey's going to be wide open.
Yep. And when they're finally decide to double McConkey, where's Keenan Allen going to be? Open
wide
underneath.
Open. Or deep.
Keenan Allen don't go deep.
How tall is Keenan Allen?
I think he's 6'4".
And he doesn't go deep?
He old and he's never been fast.
Nah, he goes deep, but just in different ways.
All right. Challenges, front seven depth. Losing Bosa and other defensive pieces may impact the pass rush consistency and the run defense, except for I think we might have a solution there at nose tackle. Schedule toughness, ranked among the tougher schedules, 11th toughest out of the league this year. Facing early divisional grind and a difficult stretch mid-season, I would say that the difficult stretch is at the latter half, which may come into play if it comes to any battles for the division or any battle for a wild card spot. Bold prediction, like I said, I'm going with 11-6, possibly 13-4 if the offense clicks early with a strong start. There's a couple of games here, say the Commanders, say the Vikings, that I think could be flipped if things go favorably for the Bolts.
Do you win the division?
No, we don't. It's going to be too steep. We saw last year, neck and neck with the Broncos all year. Even though the Chiefs took a step back last year, we still couldn't close out enough to unseat them, right? So I think it'll be very close between the Chiefs, Broncos, and Chargers all year long, and we will cannibalize each other, and that'll affect all three teams' seeding when it comes to the AFC. So
I can dig it. I can dig that.
Well, guys, check in all season long here with Bolt Talk on the Midlife Hour. I'll be following my favorite team, the Los Angeles Chargers, bringing you guys some general information from a guy who's used to depression from this team, but I like to be realistic, and I hope you like that kind of analysis as well. So thanks for joining us.
I sub up. All I want to know is, can I eat a sub?